comfort zone. We release positive energy. And we do set an example for others. And I'm outside of my comfort zone right now because I'd rather be on the stage. And but it would be too wet and it would be too damp. So I'm learning to do it more often now, becoming more technologically, I can't say advanced, but at least savvy. Now, my process of doing a speech is select the topic, research it, write it, time it, and then sign up and have lots of time to practice. I am outside of my comfort zone. Madam Chair, most honored area director, fellow Just Pros, and our very welcome guest that Sheila brought along. Now, on June the 30th, I was having a good day up until lunchtime. And then I got this messenger from Facebook, from a relationship, and this is going to sound really weird, but a relationship that I'm not in. I'm not in a relationship, but that the other person might think I'm in a relationship. So it gets really complicated. And it just really threw me for a loop. I'm going to refer back to that a little bit more when I get into the meat of it all. What I'm going to talk about are the benefits of being in Just Pros and all the different experiences, and I'm going to throw out a challenge at the end. Now, all of this is not in chronological order, but I'll start off with, June the 30th. So what did I do to bounce back? Well, I reached out to a trusted friend. I did some journaling. I continued doing some work on my business and doing some Toastmaster work. Instead of going back, feeling affected, taking lorazepam, going to bed, wanting to go to bed for 24 hours. No, I just kept moving forward. And then I was working on my Toastmasters details. And then all of a sudden, from this position here, I saw this migraine aurora, and I'd seen it before. Suzanne will know what I'm talking about, but maybe others don't. But in my right eye, I could see sort of like, it's hard to describe it, kind of flashing small little things. And it always really creates anxiety because I don't know if it's going to get flashing, really flashing, and then I'm going to have to go to emergency. So I went to my room. I got into a darker place where there was less light, and I went away in about 19 minutes, and I knew I would phone my eye doctor, not the next day because that's July the 1st, but the day after. And I found out when I phoned, the receptionist actually has had the same experience, and I did the right thing, and I'll see my eye doctor for my appointment in September. But I also looked it up again, and I noticed that stress causes it. So that stress was really difficult, and I doing my best to stay positive. And one of the benefits of being in Just Pros is having friends, great friends that you all are. And I phoned up my friend Darren, and we had a nice chat. And he, I wasn't asking for any answers, so to be listened to and heard, and just, it felt good. And he took the time. So I am really grateful for Darren. I'm grateful for Joe. He's been there many times before. For Sheila. There's so many benefits, and I'm just scratching the surface right now. I'm also grateful for Suzanne. Back in 2015, you put on the LinkedIn speaker showcase. Now, I didn't know it was about Toastmasters. I kind of missed that. Public speaking. I love that. And then when Dustin got up on the stage, wow, he was really rocking, and he had these thingamajiggers that had colors in them, and we were dancing away. And I remember Vivian's comedy. Oh man, she was so funny. Now, Joe reminded me later that he actually spoke there. I didn't recall it. I mean, that's 5 years ago. I mean, I'm 70 now, so it's kind of hard to remember everything. But it was a really great start. And it was such a great offer, you know, that Suzanne made. Okay, February will be $15. March will be $15. Now, let's take this to the next level. That's what's the whole thing. Take your speaking to the next level. So these are some of the things that took it to the next level. I am a member of the Speakers Bureau of the Mood Disorders Association of BC. I've taken my depression recovery speech 13 times. And when I went, I used to go to the Sapperton group. And one night when the meeting was over and we were walking back, and I had a lot of recovery, you know, after a while, sharing and the support there, I said to someone from the group, of course, well, I wonder if there's opportunities to share and to encourage others. Oh yeah, there's a speakers bureau. So I went to the meeting of other speakers, and then there was an opportunity. And the first one was really difficult because it was different. Usually clients phone into MDA and ask for a speaker, but on this particular one, MDA set it up at the Vancouver Library on Hastings Street. And when we got there, there were no posters. We asked the librarian at the front desk, could you make an announcement? Oh, no, we can't. So there was one of the speakers in the group that was very outgoing, and he went and talked to everybody. And we got a few people coming. And I practiced my speech. I knew the timing on it and everything. And I said, wave at me at a certain time. Well, I was going along, and all of a sudden I got this wave way ahead of the time. And so, well, it was a good start anyway. But the point is, I had a second one in the evening, and I went to Stenberg College. And I always enjoy going to Stenberg College because it was such a positive experience the first time. It was really casual. We actually sat at the desk and I had my speech before me, and we had some questions after. And I've gone back a few times. I went back recently when I worked on my depression recovery speech with Suzanne and changed it up and included family history. And when that speech was over, and we had a question and answer period, and there was a lot going on, because a lot of times I would go, they would just do a question answering period at the very end. And others would be asked, but they didn't ask me. I guess I don't know why. But on this particular time, the last time at Stenberg College, the instructor said, that was just right on. You didn't need to change anything. I felt really good because I changed up what I put into my speech. And I always look forward to Stenberg College. Now, these opportunities come in through email. And I saw this one. It was a high school on Quebec Street in Vancouver. Well, that's youth. Well, I used to work with youth a long, long time ago. So I didn't answer it, let it be. I came back about 3 or 4 days later and I thought, wait a minute, they're youth. I have a story. Why couldn't I share it? So I went ahead and I did my introduction, and it was really positive. I got good feedback. There was good communication between myself and the organizer. And then another opportunity came up with high school youth, Rehumanity Foundation, Rethink Mental Health. And there were some college students there. And I went there for the whole experience so I can get a feel for where they were at. And man, did I ever get a wonderful LinkedIn recommendation. So it just fed fuel to the fire the next time was Dr. Charles Best Secondary School. And I applied for that one. And again, good communication back and forth. Now, they're closed down because of COVID right now, the Speakers Bureau. But I'm looking forward to doing more with my speech. As a matter of fact, I'm learning to use QuickTime. I've done a little teaser on my YouTube channel, and I'm looking to do the intro on YouTube and then the whole speech. It's been a great opportunity. Now, the City Hall, there's a lot that is going on at City Hall. And I was part of a group called Stop Dem Evictions, Social Housing, and I spoke when Mayor Corrigan was there. And it was great opportunities to speak up for my neighbors and myself, to have these, these 3-story walk-ups to be knocked down and have huge high-rises going up in Burnaby. There was a lot going on. And just recently, on June the 23rd, we were on the Zoom call with the new mayor and the new city council. It's pretty well the same, except for one. And the reason being, next door is a building that has a big sign up there that I thought was going to be for third reading. When you get third reading, that means the building's coming down. There's going to be a lot of noise, and there's going to be a lot of construction after. And I thought, well, I got to speak up on it. You know, it looks like there's no hope. So, but the worst thing, the hardest thing was, I was third on the agenda with other speakers. I was just waiting for my turn. I was all set up and ready to share what I needed to share. I found out that actually they have 3 more readings, and it's going to take 6 months to a year. And then when it's completed, it's going to take 28 months for that project to become a condo. So it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but I know it's going to hit the fan eventually. And there were other times too. This shows how Just Prose is so helpful and being spontaneous. We were on a protest walk along Beresford. I wish I was on the stage because I'd be walking now, and just doing this thing. I think you can see my movement. And at the beginning, the leader, Ivan, said, well, we need some speakers outside at the library there in that court part. Who wants to do it? Yeah, I'll go ahead and do it. And so while we're walking, I'm just planning this whole thing in my mind, what I'm going to say. And of course, the difficult part is the waiting. But I got up there, and when I got off the stage, I knew I hit it. I said everything I needed to do. And I finished off with Stop Dem Evictions, 1, 2, 3. Yes, and it felt really good. Now, there's another one too. We had a meeting on a Saturday night because there was a city council meeting coming up. And that city council, we're going to adopt and vote on a new Metrotown downtown plan. In other words, to increase the number of buildings that we're going to knock down. And Ivan, as he led it and shared what we were going to do, he said, we need somebody to volunteer, that when they move to start voting on this, to stand up and speak up. I'll do it. So we're there in City Hall, and I'm sitting beside Ivan, and he's going to cue me when it's ready. And he told me that when you get up and you say it, all hell is going to break loose. And so I got up and I said, we're not going to let you vote on this. We're standing up for the people of Burnaby. So stop it. You're not voting on it. And then I took out my City of Burnaby whistle, was on my keychain, and I blew it, and everybody got up, and we took over, and they walked out. Eventually we had to leave because they told us if we don't leave, you will be arrested. So that was City Hall. And you think that was hard? No, the hardest thing was comedy. Comedy's the hardest thing to write. You see these guys get up, they sound so natural, they sound so good. I had a friend of mine say, oh, this friend of mine, Joe, not this Joe here. Oh, he's really funny. He'd really be good doing stand-up. But it's different when you get up and you actually got to stand up. You know, getting a short setup and a really good punchline. So I couldn't imagine back when I joined up that I would be saying that 3 times I've done stand-up comedy at Yuck Yucks. And a couple of those times in my debut and in my grad, my punchline went for a little holiday, a short little holiday. And I actually got a big laugh on that because it's coming, don't go away. And it did, it worked. And there's so much more here. We're just really getting into it. Now, I'm glad for Joe's friendship and his persistence, because he kept asking me and inviting me to Sheila's Reignite Your Purpose seminar. And finally, I did go. And it was really great to move ahead in your life and how she designed this and everything. But there was coaching also, so I decided to do the coaching. And I always had to work hard, of course, because there was always homework. And I got used to Sheila. Like I might think of something that I could do. When is your timeline? Oh yeah, oh, right. Now I thought of one more thing. Near the end of our coaching, I thought, well, maybe it's a good idea. Maybe I should think about going on the executive. And I brought it up and I said, well, right on, Earl, because I was going to bring it up if you didn't. So being the VP of membership for 2 years was really stretching outside of my comfort zone. I mean, I never belonged to a Just Pros or a Toastmasters club before, and I couldn't imagine doing it. But I'd be right here working on my Mac, and Joe was the president then, and all of a sudden I see an email came in. Wow. He's affirming what I'm doing. He says how good I am at this. Wow. It wasn't just one time. And then he actually included me in a speech where he called me a dog without a bone. He's tenacious. He goes after these details. I felt, wow, so affirmed. And Vivian's fabulous too as the president, because she really affirmed what I was doing. And I really enjoyed it because I feel good about inviting and welcoming people and just being really detailed oriented. And I know that Scott's going to do a great job. We had a nice session on Zoom. And we had to take officer training. And it was really good. The district director, Louisa Davis, and the area director, Donald Law, we did it at the Metrotown in the 55 plus building. And they made it fun. It was so interesting. It was just like Just Pros. I mean, I was glad to be there. I wasn't looking at my watch to see what time it was. And it was great. Now, there are other officer trainings, and there was one at Douglas College. And, whenever I would see Donald or Louisa, I'd go over and talk to them because they were really approachable. And Louisa's one of my LinkedIn connections. And so I didn't see her all day. And then I went over, I said, oh, there's Louisa. Hey, how you doing? And then she was affirming me on, well, this is another benefit. I voiced a radio ad on QMFM. And I always wanted to, after coming back from Penticton Radio, to hear my voice on Vancouver radio. I didn't think, how could it be possible? And she was affirming me on that. Played from the end of December to the end of February and up north as well. She was saying how great that was. And being a VP of membership. And then she threw in a twister that I wasn't expecting. Earl, you would be a great area director. You should consider being an area director. And I just sort of, what? What is she saying? Me? Well, she was persistent like Joe. maybe ask about other things on LinkedIn. And she'd keep reminding me. And then the new district director, Carol, she sent an email. She said, you better contact Earl. Thank you, Bob. I mean, thank you, Darren. I see it. Because he's really excited about becoming an area director. I was not. But I thought, well, I should be professional. I should be courteous. And I'll give Carol a call. And we had a good chat. And I took notes and everything. And I said twice through the conversation is, Carol, I can't figure out one thing. Why I haven't said no. Well, as she connected me to the division director, Sherry. And we had a good chat. Well, the long and the short of it was, I decided to go for it. And then I had to just choose my clubs. I know I'm going to learn a lot just doing it. But this is all from stepping outside of my comfort zone. I didn't renew as the VP of membership because I wanted more time for my business, for my life. So, I've got to, I'm going to be an area director? Well, we've had some training. There's good support. I know I'm going to learn a lot. And, just Louisa's support, Carol's and Sherry's, it's just really amazing. And there's so many benefits, just all the friendships, everything about Just Pros. Learning to talk with energy on Zoom. I can't move around. The first time I talked, it was like being on a TEDx because you couldn't move. And we'll try to move as much as I can. I hope you're not all getting dizzy because I love public speaking. And I'm going to bring it up to my conclusions. I'll just throw another one in before I get to my conclusions. I had my 70th birthday and I just felt like, hey, this is good. I'm going to facilitate this. We'll do some introductions and we'll go around and do some thankfulness. And thanks, Bob, for coming. Joe was teaching that night and Sheila wasn't able to make it. And we only had a small amount that we could have because you can only have 6 at a table. So in conclusion, I want you to think, what would life be like if I or you did not step outside of your comfort zone? Have a little pause here. Now, when an opportunity comes up, and maybe some of you have opportunities, consider stepping outside of your comfort zone. I give you a quote from Louisa Davis, past district director. If it scares you and excites you, you just gotta do it. Madam Chair.
Great, Earl. Okay, so we have Bob, who is your evaluator, and I'm going to hand it over to Bob for his evaluation. Thank you.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. It's my supreme pleasure to evaluate Earl Thomas this morning. Do I need a hat on? Oh, there. Earl, you always amaze me. You're so encouraging to everyone. Every time you talk about your experiences with Toastmasters, it just brings it home why we keep coming back to these meetings, whether they're in Queen's Park or Zoom land or on the stage at the Justice Institute. We all come back. And look how many people are here this morning. A lot of Zoom meetings are dying out because people don't want to do this anymore, but we have full meetings because of people like you, Earl. Thanks for jumping in. And you said at the beginning that you always prepare and you always study and you always practice, but this time you didn't do that, or you didn't do that much practice. But the fact is, this was an amazing speech with the preparation you did. your vigor, your enthusiasm, your fun, the fun you're having with Just Pros Toastmasters comes right through. And that's why we have full meetings, because of people like you and all of the other speakers in our club. And your facial expressions, you say you can't express yourself on Zoom, but you express yourself incredibly well. Great facial expressions, body language. You'd lean back and then your arms would be flying around. And you could see the smile on on your face. The vocal variation that you provided us made us feel enthusiastic and excited to hear your speak. You said you didn't do it in chronological order, and partway through your speech, about a third of the way through, you went back to 2015, and I got a little lost on that, but I understood as you started speaking about back to 2015 why you went there, and that's how you got involved in Just Pros Toastmasters. And you went on to explain more in chronological order what you experienced with Just Pros Toastmasters since you began in 2015. And you've made amazing progress. You're an amazing guy. You talked about your experiences with the Mood Disorder Speaker Bureau. And you know, it takes a brave man to jump into a role like that and speak to other people that have experienced the same problems as you have and to help them out. You talked about your experiences with Burnaby City Hall, social housing, and how you went up on stage and you actually blew a whistle and said you're not going to vote. So I'm absolutely impressed with what you had to say there, and your experiences with the comedy club. We can all learn from Earl with his speech preparation and practice. Earl, you jump into your roles. We all learn from you. And, you know, you say you're not very good at Zoom. I'd say you're fantastic at Zoom. We can all learn from you just watching you. You don't need a stage. Just stand in your kitchen, do a speech, have your camera on. You're really fun to listen to, and we're all learning from you. Thanks very much, Earl. I'm looking forward to more from you and from everyone else.
Thanks,
Let's
Bob.
pass it on to our peanut gallery and see what we have to say. Suzanne, unmute.
Yeah, I was having problems. Earl, wow. Since you have joined the club since 2015, I have seen you grow so much. It's just amazing. You are so confident. I mean, I know you had kind of volunteered the last minute for this speech. You hadn't prepared, and I know that's really important for you. And I kind of had to push you because you didn't want to do it because it wasn't in the park today. But the only thing is, you have grown. You don't see yourself as how much. In fact, I think we've made a monster out of you. Now protesting. I mean, like, you are so confident and you're out there. You have really pushed yourself out of your comfort zone constantly. You constantly do it, and you're not afraid to take the chance. You actually are kind of a mentor and a leader without even realizing it, because you actually show us that even at 70, you can still do it. So I say kudos to you. Don't realize how much value you bring to this club as well. Okay. The only thing my only nugget is, you talked about June 30th and a relationship, but you didn't go back to that. So I kind of wondered, okay, what happened? Was there a relationship? So you didn't mention about that person. So otherwise, great job. Thank you.
Vivian, and then Scott.
Great. Thank you, Bob, and thank you, Earl, for your speech. I'm going to touch upon two things. I think your protesting abilities I blame fully on Joe. It's all his fault, as with most things. I agree with everything Suzanne said. You've shown tremendous growth. Just by the fact that you're willing to volunteer today, kind of last minute, a lot of changes thanks to the weather, and present a speech even though you might have not felt completely prepared. My challenge to you for the new format and any further Zoom calls you might have is just be careful with the movement. It stuck out for me. You were swiveling in your chair, and I know you have a swivel chair because you kept going like this throughout the entirety of your speech. My challenge for you, Earl, is to maybe think of this like an interview. How would you sit during an interview? You sit up nice and straight, you'd face your audience, in this case the camera, you would move with purpose like we were taught in Toastmasters. Other than that, fantastic growth, and I would encourage you, yes, sometimes do a couple more speeches, even if you're not feeling completely comfortable with. Thank you.
Scott.
Thank you very much, Earl. I really enjoyed the speech, and there are a couple of things that really brought home for me. Your voice is so energetic, and when you talk about stop those evictions, 1, 2, 3, I could just see it. Or when you quoted Louisa Davis with, if it scares you, it excites you, you got to do it. So the vocal variety and the excitement was excellent. I also liked the hand gestures. They come across as very natural. And there were a couple where you really turned it on, like there was a point where you're talking about that condo next door and you're pointing. What I would, the little tip with that is if you tilt your camera down a little bit, your head was about down here and you had a lot of wasted space. If you go up a little higher, then you get more hand movement and we can see those hands going. The tip I had, I had a couple of tips. One was you told us your story, and I'd love a good story has a protagonist, something happens, they go through something and they changed. And I would love you to tell us kind of a before and after Earl to see how you've changed. And the other comment, I love the quote at the end about having us think about our comfort zone. I would have liked to reiterate something about our comfort zone or something for the audience kind of throughout the speech. But thank you very much for a great speech, energetic and inspiring. Back to Bob.
Sheila, you have your hand up.
One thing I loved is how Earl right at the end said how he has to learn to talk with energy. Well, I think he proved that he's got that down pat. And just knowing in all the time that I have worked with Earl, I know the amount of energy he carries within his body. So as Vivian had mentioned about the swiveling of the chair, to kind of piggyback on her challenge, I think for you, Earl, the best thing when you are speaking is for you to stand. I know the last speech you did here on Zoom, we had it set up so you were standing and doing it. For you, I just think that's best because you get that energy in your body, because when you're sitting down, you don't know what to do with it. You know, and that's came with the moving back and forth and the swiveling. So I think standing for you to talk is the best way for that. For you to learning how to talk with energy is going to be your best bet. But I don't think you need to learn anymore because, as Scott said, with some of your vocal variety, it definitely came through. There was no question. And I just wanted to say also congratulations, because I know stepping out of your comfort zone is not easy for anyone. It's a little bit scary, and you continue to do it and to push where your zone is. And that needs to be congratulated. So thank you.
Well, folks, I think we're out of time and we'll go back to our chair. And I believe the next thing on our agenda will be